Increasing your profit margin as a digital agency does not have to be so dang hard. In fact, if you have the paying clients already, this is fairly straightforward. And even if you don't yet have paying clients, these principles will be super helpful when you do. What's up? What's up? My name is Landon. I am the lead software engineer for a company called Scanner that helps digital agencies automate web testing at scale. Cool, you probably don't care. So the first question you probably have is, why should I listen to this random guy? While I do not personally own or operate a digital agency, I've spent the last 7 years, give or take, of my professional career working directly with digital agencies via 2 separate companies. The first one sold back in 2021 to a hosting company. And of course, the current one, Scanner. What I'm trying to say is agency problems are very near and dear to my heart, mainly because agency owners have been the primary customer profile that I have been working with and serving for the past decade or so. That, and I have an undergraduate degree in quantitative economics, so I do know a thing or two about profit maximization in homogeneous service-based businesses. Hopefully that is enough to earn your trust, as I will not be making outrageously false claims in order to get longer view times. Right, moving on. By the end of this video, you will have a very clear understanding of where your current inefficiencies exist, what your core most profitable offer is, and how to increase your profit margin and overall income, which is not necessarily top line revenue, which can be very deceptive. Okay, so like I just said, we're going to start out by doing an inefficiency audit, which is going to show you the harsh relationship between time in and money out. This is usually the most frustrating part. Once we're done with that, then we're going to use the data from there to establish and figure out what your most profitable offer is out of the services that you are currently offering. The key term here is profitable, which is a function of money and time in this equation that we're going to be working on. If you ignore one or the other, you will die. And lastly, once we've squeezed all the inefficiencies out, we'll discuss easy strategies to increase income and hopefully profit margin. Sweet, let's get into it. Okay, so now you are looking at an auditing tool that I built specifically for agencies, and I will make sure that you have a copy of this, probably be like a link in the description or something like that. If not, someone please email me. I want to make sure you get this. And yeah, on that note, I highly recommend that you grab a copy ahead of time and follow along with me, because that would probably make it much easier. You can plug in your stuff as we go along. So super high level, this is purely just a margin calculator. There's a little bit more fancy stuff going on, but it's basically segmenting by service and client. So you'll see clients on the left-hand side, services across the top. So what's special about this tool is, one, it forces you to see the inefficiencies between your time in and revenue out. And number two, it will literally tell you what your core offer should be with math. How cool is that? Obviously, most agencies have many different services, not just like 3 or 4, but I want you to choose the top 3 or 4 that actually produce the most revenue for your business. Or maybe just the 3 or 4 that you hate the least. You know, mental health is a real thing, people. Cool. Okay, so now let's do a quick walkthrough. I apologize in advance. I'm not very good at this. I tried to make it all nice and customizable for you guys, so feel free to fill in your agency name up there for a little ego boost. So right next to that is the field hourly rate. This is one you actually need to fill in yourself. This should be specific to your business. So this is like the typical wage rate that you will pay one of your employees to do a deliverable task for your client. If it's just you, then take like your monthly paycheck, divide it by 160, I think. Yeah, 160. Okay, so the rest is just plugging in your agency data. You've probably already guessed, each row represents a specific client, and each one of these top headers here, you'll see that kind of spans multiple columns here. Each one of those is a specific service that your client is paying you for. So feel free to edit those. Like if you don't do web development, you just do web design, then like change that to web design, you know what I mean? Okay, and then under each one of these service headers, you've got 3 different fields that you're going to have to fill out, which is specific for that actual service that you're providing. The first one is time cost, which is, you would think of that as like the billable hours that you're actually billing the client for the service. By the way, approximations are totally fine. They don't need to be super exact, but if you're not tracking this kind of data already in your agency, I would highly recommend you do it. Okay, time cost done. Hard costs are next. So this is, I wanted to put here cost of goods sold, but that's not correct. Actually, cost of goods sold, or COGS, actually also includes labor, which would be time costs. So we're kind of separating them in a way that like I said, we're trying to create a delta in your mind of like time in plus hard cash, right? And then revenue out, so that we can kind of see the separation there. That's where we can find these efficiencies. Anyway, so just so you know, run with me here. These are the terms we're going with. I'm sure some accounting expert can absolutely educate me in the comments below. So if that's you, feel free to do so, and I will probably not read it. Okay, and obviously the last field over here that you need to input per each service is revenue. This is just literally the money that you're taking in from your client for that specific service. Okay, so the next field, margin, right there. See how it's colored and everything? It actually has a formula in it. You'll be able to adjust this if you want. I don't recommend adjusting it. Anyway, it's color coded, so this will automatically populate based on the data from the past 3 cells that we just talked about. So I recommend, copy in a row and then forever how many clients you have, and then only filling out the time cost, hard costs, and revenue per each one of those services that you're going to do. So in general, agencies should shoot for margins that are at least 30%. 30% is kind of like, you're doing good. You're doing all right. A great margin is above 50%. So that's like the gold standard, right? It's like you get to 50%, it's like, we got a real business. We're cranking. This is good. That's like optimal. And a bad margin is anything below 15%. So if you're below 15%, it's like, we need to fix something. This is categorically wrong. So just some clarity there. Actually, I did some serious research on this to make sure that I was not wrong. This is like the industry standard. Yeah. So anyway, so as you start adding this data, you're probably going to see patterns emerge. You're going to, hopefully see the trends that I'm expecting to see. And I even actually will scroll over here. Hopefully you can see this. This is margins versus time costs. So the data for this is actually hidden. It's pulled out from the tables and then reformatted. Anyway, don't worry about it. But it's basically showing you the relationship between your margins and time costs. And that's like really what I want you to pay attention here, because they're typically inversely related. So your margin goes up the less time that a service actually takes you to complete, because labor is expensive, right? It costs so much. People are expensive. People are typically more expensive than like tools that you buy to do automated things on the internet. So, i.e. software. So just keep that in mind. Okay, moving on to step 2. We're deciding on your core offer. So if you've not already noticed this section that says core offer down here, you might need to get your eyes checked. I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's right there. Like, come on. Anyway, you feel free to like dig around into the cells and you can see like how I'm doing it. But anyway, it's basically just deciding which one of these services is most optimal, which one has the highest average margin amongst all your clients and across, your services, which is the winner. And again, for my accounting friends out there, like, roast me, like, for goodness sakes, this is not GAAP, this is not ALO, like gold standard for accounting, right? So these principles are not like hardcore legal accounting principles. This is purely for demonstration purposes to show you where the inefficiencies exist within your current agency. Okay, so like I said, your core offer should literally be spelled out for you right there. Right there, okay? Big caveat here though, as with everything, this is a recommendation. So this is just because the math says it, you might have other data that says otherwise. So by all means, look at all the data, make a very informed decision. I'm just telling you, this is like, broadly speaking, painting with big brush strokes here. This is the thing you should spend the most time on and direct most of your resources to. And what I'm not saying, I'm not saying this, do not just cut out all the other services and tell your clients like, yep, not doing it anymore. They will flip tables and leave you. So that's a very bad idea. Let's not do that. Instead, respectfully inform them that in an effort to better serve them, you are no longer going to be providing these services in the future, but you will be grandfathered in with your current plan. How about that? Something along those lines. I think that'll work. So the reason behind this hyperfocus is twofold. One, pretty obvious, it frees up your time and resources to reallocate to the most profitable service within your current business. And number 2, and less well known, is it establishes your brand more as a productized service, which really differentiates you amongst the other generic service-based agencies. By the way, I'm getting most of these ideas from a book called Built to Sell, forgetting the guy's name. I'll figure it out, whatever. I'll have it linked below. It's a great book. I have no affiliates whatsoever. It's an old book. It's the way it's written is even kind of weird, but I love it. I've read it multiple times. One of my favorite business books. And the beautiful thing about it is very succinct and formulaic in a way that you should design. And the guy was specifically targeting agency owners with this. So the concept was to help agency owners position their agency in a way that would make it actually sellable. And you do that obviously by productizing services, by hyper-focusing, and building a stronger brand around that core offering. And by the way, I really hope you guys like this sheet. Actually, I spent several hours on it. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but hey, I hope you appreciate it. If you don't, well, that'll hurt my feelings. So, okay, done with the core offer. Check. Moving on to the last step, increasing your margin, net profit, i.e. making you more money. Like I said at the very beginning, we're talking mainly about profit, net profit, because like I said, top line revenue is just it can be very deceptive. And most of us that are running agencies, like I said, not running an agency, but for most of the people that I talk to that run agencies, the main focus is profit. So it's not like, blow it out and sell, for IPO, billions of dollars, nothing like that. So you just want something that's profitable. So that's like the understandable metric that you really need to be focused on. Okay, so there are pretty much only 2 ways that you can increase your total income. Number 1, you increase the total number of paying clients. And number 2, increase the amount that each current client is paying you. As we just saw with the agency audit, you can obviously increase your margin by decreasing the costs involved in actually fulfilling the service. But since we've already maximized your potential margin by selecting that core offer, we're pretty much just left with these two options. The first, increasing the total number of paying clients, is fairly straightforward. I think everyone pretty much understands that. Market more, sell more. That's basically all you can do. And currently I'm not in a real position to give that kind of advice. Maybe in the future I will be, but no, I'm not a marketer, not a sales guy, okay? Engineer, remember? So that pretty much leaves the second method up for discussion. Instead of just giving you my opinion, I'm going to tell you what other agency owners have told me. And here it is: add-ons and upsells. If you just rolled your eyes, stay with me. The add-ons that actually drive growth are high margin, low cost, typically software products, and you can white label them to your clients. And the requisite for high margin is, you guessed it, low time cost. Basically, whatever add-on you actually end up selling, make sure that it has very low time cost and that you sell it for more than you bought it for. Obviously. What we don't want is an add-on that actually lowers margins. So when you get some data on it, throw it in the auditing tool, see what happens. Okay, just talked about add-ons. Now upsells. Upsells, very similar to add-ons, just a little bit different. Same principle applies though. So when you're trying to upsell a potential client, you need to try to uncover a potential bottleneck or resource constraint that exists in the package that you're currently trying to sell them. Something like they really need to make sure that their website is never visually broken. If you uncover that and during the conversation, you could suggest that they upgrade to a premium plan where you perform daily visual checks of their website and then use some software product to actually do the work for you. Like Scanner, for example. Just lightly tossing that in there. Seriously though, that's how the pros do it. All the agency owners that I talk to are implementing add-ons and upsells like crazy. And it works. If you learned something and like this kind of content, please consider subscribing and or sharing with someone who might also benefit from watching. My goal is to keep posting videos just like this one, so hopefully I've earned your attention. If you have any questions at all, I would be more than happy to answer them, at least give it my best shot. And until next time...